Prabha Rathinasabapathy is the next speaker. And the reason I can pronounce her name so easily is because she's my sister and used to be my surname, so my maiden name. We look too alike for me not to, to be professional about it and, not mention that she's my sister. System of motion. Prabha, Singaporean by birth, has lived out her career in London and now Berlin. With a law degree from Oxford in 2006, she joined a leading property company to redevelop the central London district of King's Cross. She qualified as a Chartered Surveyor and then did an MBA at the London Business School. Since graduating in 2015, which was 15 years after I graduated, she has vigorously pursued the launch of a brand that challenges the norms of women's fashion. Prabha's varied experience has a common theme: her passion for well-designed, high-quality products that have impact. She hopes that System of Motion will have a great impact on the lives of the women that it looks to dress. And the reason I actually have been walking around without my jacket for the last couple of sessions is because I'm actually live testing Ludwig, one of Prabha's shirts, or System of Motion's shirts. And as you can see, I've been wearing it since the morning and it looks perfect. So on that note, let me please invite Prabha Rathinasabapathy onto stage for her speech.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chitra. And thanks to everyone here. Really, I am honored to be up here amongst a list of such established brands and businesses. It doesn't escape me that I am the new kid on the block. But, having always been the baby in the family, totally comfortable with that, by the way. What I hope is that to give you an insight into what has been involved in bringing a fashion brand to life as a startup today. And perhaps even, as Paul said earlier, for the seasoned entrepreneurs in the room, to give you an opportunity to grow down and see what it, remember what it was like to start your own brand. So let me take you right back to the very beginning. 11 years ago, I fell in love with cycling around the City of London. I worked for a property company which was charged with recreating a piece of city in London called King's Cross. And we were all about a vision for sustainable living, a vision for a sustainable future. And we lived and breathed that. And this was part of our way of life, but it was not just that I thought that cycling around the city was good for the environment or was good for me and my health, but it was really how it made me feel. When I was going from meeting to meeting, cycling from work to dinner or from home to work, I felt young. For all the 10 years that I did it whilst I was in London, I felt independent and I felt free. Fast forward a few years after I started the company and I was becoming more senior, pushing higher heights in the business. And slowly I realized that this passion of mine was increasingly at odds with how I wanted to present myself. There was actually a very particular moment when this crystallized for me. I had done all the financial modeling for a meeting that I was going to go for to the investors with the finance team. And the finance director, we're all suited and booted, and the finance director in his suit and tie gets ready to get on his fold-up bike. And then he looks at me and, in my pencil skirt and heels, and he goes, "Oh, yeah, I guess you'll be taking a cab or the underground. Hey, why don't you take these leverage files with you, whilst you're at it?" And instantly, the gap that I had been working so hard to close had reopened in front of my eyes. And I think that's when I decided that if I was going to commit my time and my energies to solving anything, it was this. It was women's fashion and how it had not evolved with the way that we had started to move. I had worked, I had the privilege of working with some of the world's leading architects and designers at King's Cross. And so I had learned that building products that look beautiful but that don't work that's actually a failure. You know, you failed as a designer. And somehow women's fashion has missed this trick. And really, that is where we step in. So, system of motion. We bring together beauty and comfort in women's wear. And this means we're using the latest fabric technology to reinvent women's wear, and also a product design approach. So that means going to the customer and getting a user experience view of your wardrobe. Our first collection is a collection of tailored shirts, modeled by Chitra and Prabha today, 2 different shirts you see us having on. And this collection has all of the functions up here. They're quick dry, odor resistant, non-iron, stays crisp all day, and with a fit that is made for movement. I actually personally spent a lot of time with women. I personally met over 200 women developing the concept and the first range. And you know, we found that you didn't have to be a biking babe to want this stuff, right? Women traveling on planes want to get off looking as great as they do when they get on. You're going on the London Underground and it gets hot and sweaty, even in the cooler months because it's so crowded. And why should I feel hot under the collar? You're presenting to the board or on stage. You don't want to be distracted by the thought of sweat patches. If you know you get the natural adrenaline rush and the anxiety rush that you do when you are talking to people and passionate about what you're doing. And something that I hope gets a cheer from you guys is, you know, you're a busy mom and you are rushing around getting the kids ready for school in the morning. And you don't want to feel like you've been to the gym before you even get to your first appointment, you know? And we heard all of these stories with every session we did, with every focus group we did, and learned that there was actually a bigger need to solve here. But you know, all that product stuff actually came after an important piece of validation for me. It was a very personal journey for me, as you might imagine. Female soul founder, graduating from business school in 2015, July 2015. I was the only one in my class of 400 to fit that description, starting my own business, and you know, which kind of makes you think, am I crazy or brave? You know, it depends on the day, how you're feeling, which one you adopt. But I think what gave me, you see some big brand names on there, and with every one of those who heard what I wanted to do and what I had in mind, kind of giving me their vote of confidence, I had the confidence to take the next step forward. But the one I want to highlight actually is Saatchi & Saatchi. Because they were really cool. The deputy chair of Saatchi & Saatchi teaches a course at LBS, and somehow he had found out that I was pursuing this concept because people in the school talked about it a lot, and I got a call from his team one day, independently offering to help me develop the brand identity pro bono, which of course, you know, I was. Actually in total disbelief. I just landed from, you know, somewhere, and I was looking at this email. I was dying to call someone and tell them, but I was by myself. And anyway, that ensued into 9 months of a really fantastic, interesting process for someone who has never done this before, developing a brand with the help of Saatchi & Saatchi. Why did they do that? Because actually what they had seen, and I think you've heard this so much today, what they saw we had is what a lot of the companies you've seen today have, and that we have a strong purpose. This is how it has been encapsulated now, but you know, there was a whole process extracting our values and mapping it out and putting that, picking it apart, putting it back together. The crux of which is that we had a very clear idea of who we wanted to be. Our character and our inspiration, you know, which then plays out into how you want to present yourself. So our woman, she's elegant, she's feminine, but she's got a bit of sass, you know, she's got a bit of spunk. She doesn't take herself too seriously, because you can't. when you are a busy, ambitious woman or man and you take risks, things go wrong, things aren't perfect. And so, having the opportunity to be rough around the edges, this was an important theme for what we wanted to create for the future generation. Confidence in comfort, and really, much more importantly, confidence in being comfortable in your own skin. That is why we are creating wardrobe staples rather than season-by-season collections. One of the reasons, actually, is because really we are about creating a canvas with which you can express yourself. And, you can do that through accessories, shoes, bags, scarves. Choose your own accessories to express yourself, but we create that canvas. So, look, we had a strong purpose. I told you a little bit about the product, and that was, we had some fantastic validation of that through our first customers. Here are a couple of sound bites from, what I've learned today is I need a video. I need, the equivalent of kids on video. I need them to be talking. So, but anyway, these are some of our first customers who appreciate what we've created, and it's really I love hearing people talk about features of the product that we had deliberately thought of and designed, and they just kind of play it back to us and go, yes, we wanted to do that, actually. So this, in hindsight, was the easy stuff, but only, I should add, because we had a very talented set of brains on it. I was lucky enough to have met a lady who worked 5 years for Lululemon, and then she graduated from Central St. Martin's, top fashion school in the world, in London. And she has been the designer and our head of product to bring these creations to life. So we had product starting off with a strong purpose. But what I would like to expose for you, if you like, is the part of the journey which I think we found quite tricky, which is this presentation piece. Translating purpose and product into a visual identity, which is all important for a fashion brand, but of course even more important in today's digital world, where literally we have 3 seconds to communicate with you if you come across us online. And that's tricky, so what I want to show you here is that what you're doing with fashion, it's quite unlike any other product business, I've learned. You are in this difficult space of commercializing creativity. You are interesting and new because you are cultural. You have depth and meaning, and you've spent time taking inspiration and translating that into something. Okay, this is wonderful. We are bringing art to. That's exactly what we're trying to do. Bring form to function. Bring art into this, but that leaves you in this, you're always in danger of crossing over into something that becomes quite inaccessible. So we work hard to try and maintain a position that allows us to be premium, allows us to be original and interesting, but that you can relate to as a consumer. I want to actually play this out for you in a real example, fun example, I hope. So, no right answer to this, but there might be. But which of these pictures do you prefer, without thinking about it too much? So, the one on the right, put your hands up. Our right. Your right. One on your left. This keeps happening to me. Okay, so I love the one on your left, but then it turns out that the general public, my target market, love the one on the right, and so this is something I want to explain. Is that there's this myth that startups, especially in if you spend time in Berlin, which is where I am now, and everybody's excited about startups, and they go, startups, it's about personal vision, and what do you think? And when I finally answered the "what do I think" question, it seemed not to be right, And you go on this personal journey of, it is still important, and you grapple with it all the time, exposing yourself and making yourself vulnerable enough to relate to people and to talk to people and to communicate your vision to them. But it is not just as simple. When I hear, oh yeah, she started a fashion brand, you must love clothes or you must love shopping. Actually, I hate shopping. That's actually why, because you can never find what you want, and you spend too much time, and then you don't know what to do with it after 3 months because it doesn't fit. So, this is why I am doing what I'm doing, and my point is that my concern is much more about creating impact. And if we lose the ability to connect with the consumer by choosing the picture on the right, for example, or my right, your left, then we lose the opportunity to create impact. So whilst I might slip that other picture in from time to time, we are learning how to get to something that we love, but that also connects with the consumer. 3 seconds, right? You have 3 seconds, and we are a digitally native brand, so this number is very hot for me. And I think that has been and will continue to be our biggest challenge, is dealing with the increasingly short attention spans. Another number for you, I think it's 101 milliseconds you have for your page to upload before your customer loses interest. So if you've got high-res images, for anyone who's got a website, if you don't know this already, that's something to take away. If you took nothing else away from my speech, that is, it's these kinds of digital-first challenges that we're having to deal with. But I actually think this is also where we have an opportunity. Because there are lots of fast and loose offers out there with tons of marketing money behind them. And we are genuinely different. So you may have heard that Chitra's shirt is called Ludwig, mine is called Paul. We have named them after our heroes in the Bauhaus, which is a design philosophy, it's a school of design. Not many people know that it is the origin of Johnny Ives' thinking, the way Johnny Ives of Apple thinks about design, and the way Dieter Rams of Vizzo thinks about design. It comes from the Bauhaus. Architects totally understand this, and we want to celebrate these heroes through our pieces, and we're still committed to telling these stories through the brand. So that is what we will do, and I think as all of the successful brands in the room today know, a strong brand is about much more than pretty pictures and great product. Actually, it is about a relationship with your customer, with your consumer, with the person whose problem you're trying to solve. And what we have done quite well is this one-to-one, and I think that that's the tricky balance, is turning a one-to-many, making that feel like a one-to-one. But we're up for it. We want to not only redefine what you wear, but redefine your relationship with what you wear. And that's going to take us quite a bit of time and quite a bit of energy. But I hope that you like what you've seen on us today. Please feel free to, of course, visit us online. And still learning all the time. I hope to continue to do that all my life. So please do give us any feedback if you have any. And thanks very much. The Martinhal hug. Hashtag.
Sorry, just 1 second. We do have time for Q&A, which I think would be nice.
Yeah. So I sped through that. Yeah.
Any questions?
I do, actually. I have a couple. So Paul is a new release. He's a 2-in-1 shirt because you can clip back the cuffs to slim it down. We call this the future classic. It's our take on what comes next in terms of visual. And it's all about versatility, right? Bringing versatility to your wardrobe. So you can pin back the cuffs to slip it under a blazer should you want to. I've got a couple of Ludwigs. And then we've got...
Other than the one I'm wearing.
Other than the one that you're wearing.
This is mine.
Not up for a sale. This is one of grabs.
Don't sell me.
And then we've also got Walter, which is a boyfriend, our take on the boyfriend shirt. But, what I should say is that this is fabric that feels and looks like cotton. So yeah, come and have a feel later on. A Martinhal hug. Yeah, please.
So a lot of the design is the fabric and the texture and the benefits that it has. So how do you convey that online?
That was a big discussion point, actually, when we were doing the brand development, particularly because this digitally native strategy was, again, not whimsical. It was the result of deciding that wholesale was yesterday's way of doing things. It was actually becoming very difficult for startup brands to sustain, and actually I think retailers are struggling with it as well. So if we were going to invest in anything, it was investing in a direct-to-consumer e-commerce strategy, which some brands in the US have done very well. And also because actually the second strand to the direct-to-consumer strategy is we have a unique proposition that means we really need to be in control of the messaging. We're not sportswear. We're not, we'd get lost in fashion. So online, how we do this is the video is the strongest tool. We've got a couple of excellent videos on our own website. We've also got a couple of, the icons that I showed you, which is a sort of nod to sportswear, but it really is about that crisp, quick communication. Because I think even videos, I get bored after, not of ours. Love our video.
Millennial generation. Can I ask Carlos to look for the video that's on your website while...
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Since you regretted not bringing a video. Sorry. This is the older sister syndrome, If you'd like. Otherwise we can just
why don't we just carry... I don't know. It might...
We have time for a couple of questions while Carlos is looking for the video.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Does that answer the question? Yeah. And actually the third thing that's really important is customer validation as well. So having, not just customer, yes, eventually press, which we're currently working on. But yes, validation in general. So yeah, please.
How much does the shirt cost, and is it really
non-iron?
Non-iron.
Yeah. No, I hate the fact that other shirts, cotton shirts, 100% cotton. Sometimes they talk about them as non-iron, and I've learned so much about fabrics. How they achieve that is high heat treatment, but really what they mean is, I guess, easier iron or not as wrinkled as normal cotton. With ours, you just hang it up after you've washed it, and it's fine. It stays crisp. You can tell that we've been wearing it all day, and it hasn't really wrinkled.
And it's comfortable, very comfortable.
Retailing at, I feel like we're doing a sales pitch, which was not the idea. Retailing at £95 per Ludwig and Walter, and Paul is £110 for being a 2-in-1. Yes, please.
Hi, what's been your most successful marketing activity since you launched the brand?
The in-person, I think this is why I chose to highlight that. I think nothing replaces the in-person experience. And I don't really mean, having a pop-up shop as much as, because even those, it's not just about a retail experience. You're probably familiar that now brands are all about interesting brand experiences, something that tells a story, etc. So really it's much more about that. Although on digital, Facebook is fantastic for us, yeah. Because people, I think, not just millennials, a lot of connections get made quite quickly in one's head. You see a like from one of your friends on that page, okay, that's a bit of validation. You see a little bit of a video, you get a quick sense of what it's about, and you're willing to try and test, I think. So that's, yeah, there's much more of that.
Shall we see the video? It's 30 seconds apparently. Is that right?
Okay, that's one
And
of
then
a
we
few
still
videos,
even have
yeah.
time for more questions.
I think there's a longer video on Vimeo.com, but yeah, why don't we see the short one, and we'll take it from there.
So, Vimeo.
Yeah, I think actually there are a couple more on Vimeo. There's a slightly longer one, which is 3 minutes, unless anyone has any other questions.
We have 6 minutes, so you have time for question. And Carlos, please find the other video in the meantime. One more question? Anyone?
Yes, please.
Are you thinking of doing them in color?
Yes, yeah. We've got a product pipeline that's quickly coming through, colors and stripes too. So, yeah, look out for those in the summer. Yeah.
Question. I just want to say that earlier
Yes.
in lunch, we say something about keeping things simple, and you didn't say anything to me about your shirt, the shirt that you're wearing now, but I just couldn't keep my eyes off of it. So
Thank you.
you're doing really well.
Thank you very much.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Amazing that I didn't say anything about it? Yeah, that's
Is it ready?
also
Let's go.
amazing.
Yeah. So, thank you very much,
Thank
Prabha.
you.
And system of motion, I remember when I was having babies, especially at the baby stage, when you've just, sorry, there's one more question apparently, sorry.
Please, yeah.
Seeing as we have 3 minutes
just one
more.
question. You've chosen, and you have a fantastic model. Who is she?
Who is she?
So-
She's she's a Russian model who is, did us a huge favor, actually, to be totally honest. And because the reason I say that is because people also go, what about diversity? And you talk about individuality. And I'm like, when we are making a lot of sales, and you know, when we can afford to bring diversity into the story, we absolutely will. Until then, you have me and you know, others that we engage with. But yeah, she's great. Katya is her name. I can.
I can definitely attest to the fact Prabha's pulled all this together, and people are doing stuff for her for free. And I'm thinking, wow, how does she do it? She got Sachin's free consulting from Sachin Sach for 9 months, you know.
But you know, what I wanted to say about that video was that was also not the video. So you got to have a look on Vimeo. But more importantly, these videos, the ones that you saw, were about showing you the fabric. You know, we thought it really achieved that. Giving you a tactile experience without you actually being there, because that's one of our challenges. Yeah, you can hear a bit more about the story in another one of the videos.
On Vimeo, so do look it up at System of Motion.
Vimeo.com/System of Motion.
Vimeo.com/System of Motion. For the full video of, I think it has your vision in it as well,
Correct,
a bit more of the vision.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to say, you know, when they were all at the baby stage, I'd be getting dressed for a business meeting, and, you know, you're sweating, as you correctly pointed out, even before you've left the door, because, you know, that's what happens to a mother who's trying to leave the door. And very often I've thought, my God, can I not have a nicer shirt? Especially after, you know, you've lifted them, you always have to wear this muslin cloth, you know, with the baby burping its, you know, feed out. And so, you know, when you get that model sorted out, where the burp just flows off.
I want to actually tell a funny story about this, because at the soft launch, you know, no, actually before, Chitra was explaining the concept to a friend, and she said,